too high.
Okay. Well, what do you want?
Ultimately, I want a man that's a provider.
Okay.
Willing to work.
Okay.
In the beginning, but when it's time to have children, I do want to be able to stay at home and raise the children.
All right.
So they're able.
How many kids would you like?
Issues with me. Ideally 3 to 4, but right now I would say at the age that I am, maybe 2.
How old are you?
32. Well, I'll be 32 soon.
Okay. So you want to be a traditional housewife then?
I wouldn't say ultra traditional, but somewhat, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But you want the man to be a traditional provider?
Yes. Ideally, I would like that.
Okay. That sounds like an imbalance.
I don't necessarily think so.
If you need him to be a traditional provider,
mm-hmm.
but he's not getting a traditional housewife, what is he getting that's better than a traditional housewife? Because his responsibility is here. What's he going to get that's here or above?
What does a traditional housewife entail?
Well, you tell me, because you said you're not one.
Well, you listen to that. Oh, that's very interesting. So she don't want to be a traditional housewife, and here she says she don't even know what the traditional housewife is. That is how complicated women can be sometimes to understand. Now, this is the problem you are gonna come across in your own kind of lifestyle. Why did I say that? If you say that you don't want to be a horse, it means you already know what a horse is. But saying that you don't want to be a horse and coming back to say that you don't know what a horse is very confusing. I mean, I don't know whom you're confusing. And I think that is why Kevin Samuel actually said quickly, just pretended that he doesn't know the role of a traditional housewife, because she already said that she don't want to be a traditional housewife, but she wants a traditional man. So what's a traditional man? A traditional man is a man who provides for the family, who puts meal at the table. That's a traditional wife. So what is a traditional woman? Traditional woman is a woman who do house works. That's technically speaking, I think the branding which the women gave it these days is housewife. All right, that's like a wife that was married for a house. Okay, so that's the branding women gave it. So, but I don't think men actually give their own a what I call it, a savior, a Jesus Christ for the the Jesus Christ husband. I think that's the brand the man should actually check. Whenever a woman say that he needs a man who makes 6 or 7 figures, all right, then we're technically going to be looking at it that she wants a Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the provider, the ultimate solution at no expense, at no return, all right, at no equal return. Because if you're looking for Jesus Christ, you gotta be obedient, you gotta obey his laws, you gotta be, you gotta do all the things that he said. That is what comes with being a follower of Jesus and being a disciple of Jesus. You gotta do what he says, not what you think you want to do. You gotta give your own life up and live the way he wants you to live. And that, in my own book, that's the technical definition of a traditional man's desire and a traditional man's way of life. That is some sort of a standard life of a man of a high value. If you have all those things up there, then there is something which you are going to do in return to complement his effort. And it's not going to be that you're going to always be on a social media, internet, all those, all right, and living that relationship part where he actually brought you to fit in void. I mean, he have you, but he still need to get a nanny to do the cleaning, the cooking, the taking care of the baby, all right? So the next question which is going to arise there is, what is your own job? What is your own uh, commitment? What's your own responsibility to do? I mean, what are you actually going to contribute to the family, to the growth of the relationship? So apparently it's zero, because when he have all that, working so hard and make all that money, but there is no way you're contributing into his life, your own value has been depleted. Now, if suppose you preference, in which a lot of women do, that you want a nanny or a house help who is gonna cook, clean, and take care of the kids, he's gonna ask himself, it seems like you are trying to shift the role of your own as a wife to the house help. And in most African countries, we've seen a lot of problems like that, where the problem starts from in marriage, where the wife started feeling that the man is sleeping with the housemaid or the nanny, is where the woman decided to delegate all the duties that she's supposed to do as a wife for the nanny or the house help. So, in the end of the day, she's not at home. She's not there as a wife. She's not there as a companion. The only person there as a companion is the nanny, because there is something you have to understand about women nature. If you give them so much freedom, if you give them one freedom, they will request for two. If you give them two, they will feel entitlement to four. So if you exclude them of all their own obligations, you are creating more problem for the future. And the problem for the future is you're making her much more weak, useless to you, and even useless to her own self. She's gonna be thinking of doing something else really stupid, something that's gonna hurt your own relationship, even your own some sort of family. What I mean by that is, take for instance right now that I decided that the job which I'm doing right now, I don't have to work anymore in my entire life, and I have billions in my account. Just give me 2 months and obesity is gonna be my next name. Technically speaking, that's what it is. When I don't have to do any more work, when I don't have to do anything that stretches my own strength and make me sweat, which means I'm automatically being some sort of delegated to going to anywhere and living a kind of lavish lifestyle, and eat and eat and poop, eat, poop, sleep, eat, poop. That's all I'm gonna be doing. So in that state of mind, what do you think is gonna happen? The person will start growing grumpy, adding too much weight, and a whole lot of other problems gonna start coming out there. That's the chance which the person, the prospect, be it a man, be it a woman, is gonna start having a fling outside the matrimonial border. So that's something which you guys need to understand, and that is where the responsibility and making sure that someone whom you are in a relationship doesn't swap lane is very important. He or she have to do his own obligation, and that is actually going to keep him check and balance in the relationship. It's very, very important. But if you think that you're doing that person good by trying to excuse him of all this, you're making matter worse. Let's continue with the conversation.
You picked the right one.
Housewife, I'm just imagining kind of being a slave. So
Now, you heard her. Being a housewife, that she's imagining being a slave. Now, this is the whole picture of it. When you correct women on their wrongdoing so much that I started feeling that you're hating them, that is number one. The number two here is when you decided to delegate duties so that everyone can be able to stay in their own lane, you are taking your own responsibility as a man as to provide for the family when she don't have to work. Now when she don't have to do anything to bring to anything that's gonna be bringing money into her table. I'm talking about any external jobs. I'm not talking about the matrimonial job and responsibility, which I'm certain that you also going to be partaking. Now you are doing your own as a man, comfortably without complaining. But okay, for her to cook, clean, take care of the house is now being a slave. Now I want you to look at that and understand the nature of women's psychology and how they perceive things. You don't call your own slaving, going out every day, going to hunt, going to deal with all the madness in your workplace. Maybe you are some kind of a person who work in a construction site and you have to deal with all the UV downpour on you and working so exhausted, and even maybe you have to take some pills in order to have enough strength to do the job as you're supposed to. Then you come back. You have a wife at home who have to stay and watch TV programs and probably gossip all around the internet space where she can and stay under the roof without doing a damn thing. Aside to cook, it doesn't take any serious energy to cook. It doesn't take 1/10 of the energy it takes to make money to cook. Not like it's in the old tradition where you have to go into the forest and fetch some firewood and all that and start, blowing. Even at that, right? We're talking about where you just need to put some things on a microwave, just combine some little things. What strength does it really takes to actually cook? I'm trying to phantom it. Now, the next thing which we're talking about here is to clean the house that you live in for a healthy lifestyle. So that is the definition of her own slave. All right, is to put something in the microwave or on a on some sort of on the gas stove. All right, probably. Then what next are we talking about here? To attend to if she already have a kid, when the kid need a mom's touch or some sort of a care, she attend. Just these three things, that is the slave. That is the description of slave in women's book, in modern women's book. Okay, let's proceed further, guys.
So
Let me stop you right here. Let me stop you right here. Let me stop you right here. Mm-hmm. Where are your people from?
My mom's from Trinidad and my dad's from Jamaica. So I see that's
hold on.
Why?
We don't need white supremacy racism. Well, all we got is this: that you think that the women who came before you were slaves.
It's not that necessarily.
No, you heard it. So which means the old traditional women, amas and grandmas who were very submissive and very loyal to their husband and do the house chores, which they know that is the right place which they fit in, they were slaves. That's a very nice question to me.
But just what I'm seeing in the media and just all around me, I see women.
Okay, now you heard it. Okay, let me conclude that quickly. Sorry to cut you guys in here. So, her perception where she drafted that is being slave is from media. It's not even a logical thinking. That's what I talked about previously, that if you women don't have the logical thinking, if you tell them that you want to know exactly what is the logic, what is actually the moral reason why you're doing this, they don't have it. Most of them don't have it. They do things because others do. Now, she is actually concluding that doing her responsibility in a house, doing house chores, is slave. And where did she get that from? She copied it from social media. It's not like as if it is really something that, I mean, she have a logical explanation to actually convince people that doing a house chore, being accountable as a woman, doing your own part of your own play in the matrimonial home is being slave to the man who is providing all the money you are using to spend and buy whatever you want to buy. This is crazy world we're living in. Don't you think so? Let's go further.
Trying to be this housewife for men, traditional housewife for men, and they're just getting like, can I curse?
Well, be prepared to be challenged on anything you're going to say, because you tell me in the media, I'm going to ask you what you watch. Excuse me? What are you talking about? When women, a woman who's, let's do it. Let's do it. Traditional housewife, what media are you talking about?
So let's, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I want you to define what traditional housewife
No.
Because in my mind, traditional housewife is being home.
You can't overtalk me. That's how we don't do that. Stick it down. I said traditional housewife. You said, no, not traditional housewife. All right, so you was thinking of something. And then you was talking about, well, from what I'm seeing in the media, I'm asking you what media? You haven't answered any questions. Okay. What media are you talking about?
Social media.
Where do you see traditional housewives in social media?
Everywhere.
Do you?
Well, I mean, that I know of, just women getting taken care of and not working. No.
So that's what a traditional housewife is, taken care of and not working.
To me, yes.
Oh, okay. So, and that's getting the shit end of the stick?
From what I've seen so far, yes. From what I've seen so far, yes. That's why I get your definition of it.
Well, why do you want it? Why do you want a man to take? Then why do you want a man to get out here and work and pay all the bills so you can sit at home?
Exactly.
I didn't necessarily phrase it as that. I said
that's what it is.
Wanted a provider for the most.
You wanted to be able to work, and you wanted. I asked the question. So I'm very clear. I asked the question. You don't want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant. You want a man to be a traditional provider. I've said that 3 times.
Okay.
But how we get to it, you don't have to want to be the one carrying the financial family load. You want to be provided for.
Yeah.
And then what is he going to get? Because he's not going to get a traditional wife. What is he going to get?
Absolutely.
He's going to get the love and support.
That's bullshit. What the hell is love and support without commitment? No woman is going to take that shit. So why would a man take being loved and support for nothing? I mean, nothing is the support. It's crazy. Now, you heard her when Kevin Samuel asked her, what are you going to do to support the man? And she said, with her love and support. Wow. Please, how do loving a man make him a money? If actually love, women's love, brings money, I don't think they're going to need a man in the first place. So what is that support without being supporting a man in being a companionship? So women talk about love, but they don't want to support. They don't want to play any part that requires physical, some sort of contribution or commitment. Instead, they're talking about love. Love is just a mere words. Else, let's rephrase it in the other way around. A lot of women who have sing about love end up choosing money when the right time comes. Check all your celebrities. Check Kim Kardashian, check Celine Dion, and the rest of them.
Absolutely. He's going to get the love and support that I have.
You buy a goddamn dog for that.
Okay.
See, you ladies don't want a fair deal. You ladies want an unfair deal. You want a man to go out and do the things that men have always been expected to do since time immemorial, but yet you don't come to the table wanting to even come and act in good faith You, women like you, I'm going to talk about you. You come in here talking about a traditional housewife as a slave. Can I tell you what? You leave men alone, go get your girlfriend, go buy a dog, and live and die by yourself. I get tired of you women talking about men as though we're something to hurt and abuse shit because you watch fucked up social media stories. Men are tired of having you put this shit on them. If we talked about y'all like this, you call us toxic.
That is true.
If we said traditional housewives are some gold diggers, then there'll be all kind of problems.
That is true.
But this is what I mean. You guys are used to.
You get that. So if we decided right now to label women who wanna, be at home, who need a traditional man as a gold digger, then the whole internet space is gonna be shut down and cut loose because we're now misogynistic. I hope you really get that clear, right? So women want the unfair deal at the expense, the expense of men, without having to put any little effort in the relationship to make it work. And that is the problem, right? In men's world, if I have to do this, if I have to do up to 10 works, at least you should be able to be supportive in some little, in your own way. We are not saying to come and become a man, to grow muscle, to do what we do. That is not what we're saying. We're saying stay in your lane and be just the way nature and God has created you to be. That is staying in your feminine lane. Do just the little things which is expected of you to do, and we do the hard ones. So you stay in your lane and do the little that you are to do while we do the hard works. And that is what created a balance. All right? They can't have it two people who are in a family and the both of them are craving that they want to work 9 or 12 hours a day. That is not a healthy relationship for me. That is not a healthy relationship for anybody in the whole world. You can have two parties. You can have the husband and wife working 12 hours a day trying to make money. It's crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, who's going to be enjoying the money? Dog, right? Or whatsoever. Now that's a point where you give birth to kids and the kids are left to grow alone and fall into the vulnerability of the internet space and being raised by the TV, by cartoons. That's what we have a lot of here. That's what you see on the internet, where you see a lot of some sort of social misbehavior from some certain people. I'm not talking about, I'm not being specific about any binary gesture here. Both girl and a guy who don't get raised by their family, I mean by their parents properly, end up being raised by the cartoon. We have a lot of these people on the internet, and those are the people who can who can keep a man, who can stay in a relationship, who have angry issues, who have a lot of tantrums. You wouldn't even say anything and they start throwing tantrums. They are weak, they are lazy, they can't do anything, on their own. And so they need someone who will do all that, and they don't have to put any little work. Then if they have to put any little work, that is the description with which this woman come in at, that is being slaving. He got it from the social media. And probably those people who put it on social media, just like I explained, are people who are raised by cartoons, by Disney Wars and other TV shows. So I don't really buy into those opinion. If one have to work so much to bring the money, you have to make that decision today. If the wife decided that she want to be working and bring them the money, taking the financial load of the family, then the man should stay at home. One person has to stay at home. The both of them don't have to be on the moon and leaving the kids at home to grow up by themselves without parental home training, to raise themselves as the one. And I also believe that is the main reason why there is a lot of some sort of a shift in gender preferences that is amounting to transgender homosexualism and lesbianism that is going on there. You left the kids to grow, and I see a lot of people who have been influenced on that very pattern say that they are born gay, or they are, I'm certain I'm gonna be coming out. I'm gonna be seeing people coming out in future that they are born transgendered. That's a joke, a serious joke. So this is what we're talking about here. The both of you guys can't do that. You are damaging the kids. Except if you have to do that, then I don't see the need of the both of you being together in the first place. I don't even see the need of the both of you having offsprings. It's more like, technically speaking, what the both of you are gonna be are just some sort of boyfriend and girlfriend, but you are 100% disqualified to be called a husband and wife. For no reason you are not bound to be in the same house, because even let me still go further. I'm going too far. Not having a kids is just the least of them. There is still more. You both are unfit to be inside the same roof, because I've been hearing a lot of complaints on Reddit where people are actually complaining. Women are complaining that they can't be the only one doing the house chores. Imagine that. That's crazy. So that's why I said, even though if you don't have kids, there is still going to be a huge matters arising where women will say, I can't take care of this house. I have career, I have job to do. So at the end, who is going to take care of the house? No one is going to take care of the house. So which means the both of you don't even deserve to be in the same house for the first place. So why should you even want to be in a relationship or have a husband when you are not ready to be a wife? Why would you want a husband when you don't want to be a wife? You want to be a street hose? Then you don't need to have a husband. And that is why I'm gonna say, some sort of a perfect man said, you don't need a man to do that. He told her right there, all you need to do is go get along with your other girlfriend and buy a dog and die alone. That's simply what it is.
This is what I mean. You guys are used to talking about men in some of the foulest ways. You didn't say you want them.
Okay.
So let's take it down. Do you want to stay home with your kids?
I absolutely do want to stay at home with my kids up until a certain age. Yeah.
Then where are they going to go after what age?
I was thinking maybe kindergarten.
And if you have 4 children, that means you'll be out of the workforce for at least 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do for a living?
I'm currently a flight attendant.
Flight attendant.
Mm-hmm.
So, being gone out of the workforce for 10, 12 years, think you're going to be able to go back to be a flight attendant at 50?
It's possible, but ideally I would.
Right. So, in other words, your husband, if you have 4 kids, he would have to carry the load, because even if you sent the kids away to school after the youngest is in kindergarten, you just sit at home by yourself. Ain't that something? That's what I said. So like I said 10 minutes ago, why does he have to go out and work and you get to sit on your butt at home? That don't sound like slavery to me. That sounds like luxury.
Exactly. That is luxury. But women confuse it in the other way around and call it slavery. I mean, the man who is actually slaving here is the one who have to do a lot of work. What is slavery in the first place? When we talk about slavery, we can talk about slavery without mentioning the African slave. What was African doing for the European? Africans was used to build most European cities and at no pay. But what is the main thing that was actually done there? It was a serious exploitation of human resources, which is working without payment. So now, here your husband have to do all the work and yours is to sit at home. And you call that slavery, slaving, because you just have to put something on the microwave. That the energy that the microwave uses to even cook is still from the same man who goes out to work. I don't know if women have the capability to think or to reason things, to look at things actually the way it is. It really shocks me. I mean, I'm hearing this and really so much. Let's proceed.
Yes, the way you put it, yes, it does.
Not the way I put it. We just talked through your example.
I can see from that viewpoint. But I also had a question before we go further.
I want to ask, but I didn't get to ask my questions about this scenario.
Okay.
Do you have a cookbook?
Do I have a cookbook?
Nope.
No, but I
so you can't. So you can't cook. So basically.
Who said that?
I said that you can't. A woman who can cook. I come from cooking people. Women, see, traditional housewives understand that their province is the home.
Yes.
This is what I mean. So what I mean is, you can follow recipes. That means somebody else has to decide what the food for your family is. Mm-hmm. The most important thing is the food for the family, and you can't even be responsible for that. Someone else has to do it. You'll follow it. So why don't your husband go get the woman who made the recipe?
That is true.
Okay.
What do you bring into the table?
That's a valid point.
So this is what I mean.
That's a valid point.
When you ladies don't even bring,
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Well, you don't even bring the basic stuff. It's like, okay, you're like you had 4 kids, you'd be the 5th one.
So what are the basics? This is what I really want to know. What are the basics for you?
First of all, good faith.
Okay, now Kevin just broke her there. She said she is planning to have 4 kids and she just made it the 5th one. What that really means is that man has to carry all the 4 kids and do all the work, and now she can't even cook. So which means the man have to hire someone who knows how to cook. So the basic stuff which a woman is supposed to do in a relationship, in a matrimonial home, most of you women can't even do it. But you want the man of the highest standard order in the whole world. You want Mr. President, but yet you can't even do the list of things that a house help can actually do as a wife for your own husband. So technically speaking, you are of no use to him. If it is only sex that you think that, oh, your love, no, it is not about love this time. We're talking about commitment, because when it comes to commitment stuff, love is love. Commitment is commitment. Responsibility is different from love. Commitment is different from responsibility. So you have to do your own, put in your own responsibility and show your commitment to your own marriage, and not let a housework or a nanny to play that while you're busy clamoring that I am your wife, you cheated on me. No, I think in this very chapter here, I'm gonna say that if you are some kind of a wife who can even do the basic things for your man, and all you give your man is just your ass and private part, I'm sorry, you are not even his wife in the first place. You are wife by the name, and you don't even have the legal right to question him when he goes out there to look for some other person who is going to fulfill his obligations and meet his options, which you can't even provide, which you can't even fit in, such as doing the basic stuffs. So as a wife, you should qualify. You should earn it. You should qualify to become a wife. It's not just about the name. It's not just the paper transcript that is cheap. How much is paper and how much is pen? Everything legal about the marriage stuff is written on paper, and therefore it's purchased. It can be thrown into trash. But there are moral values, which a core moral value that if he look at it, he's gonna say, no, that is my wife. That is what makes her my wife, because of this value. She's different from every other woman which I've come across. She provides this value that I can never or rarely see on any other woman. But if you can have that value, then it's easy for him to throw you out of the into the trash and get another person who's gonna do it. Just like Kevin Samuel here says. A lot of you guys are gonna say my tone is not so good about this. Well, sorry for that. But that is the truth. The truth there is, when you can be able to meet up to men's expectations, you shouldn't stand on his way to explore his options and meet those ones who can be able to meet up with his expectations. Like doing the basic stuff we're talking about here. If a man always have to go to work and come back late, exhausted, and make all the money you spend in the house, and yet you can't even cook, you can't even take care of the house, you don't deserve to have him as your husband. That is what it is. You are not even qualified to be his wife. Because if you say that this man is a soldier, there is something that makes him a soldier. It's not just the uniform. There are characteristics. He knows how to shoot. He is a defendant of the citizens of his country. He has duties to do that makes him a soldier. He can carry a rifle professionally, and he can aim at the enemy and shoot the enemy. So that is what qualifies him to be a soldier. It's not bearing the name tag as a soldier or wearing a camouflage. No. And if you say that this man is a barrister or a lawyer or an attorney, then he have meet all the required standards that earn him that reputation as a lawyer or as a barrister. He is legally fit to be able to deal with any legal proceeds or problems that comes professionally. But if it's just about wearing suit and some kind of a bow tie, anyone can put that on. That doesn't qualify him to be an attorney. But can he actually, all right, legally defend you in a court of law professionally? Will he be able to win a case? If he can be able to do it, that's the attribute that makes him a barrister, a lawyer, or an attorney. But you are here, women, you want to be a wife, but you don't have the attribute of a wife. You can't cook. You can do the basic thing as a wife. It's only your name that was written on whatever book or whatever certificate, marriage certificate, that actually qualifies that you are the wife of that man. But the real characteristics and the attribute and things that qualifies you to be a wife, you don't want to do that, but yet you want to become a wife. I mean, I think you women should be some sort of next generation scientists who have to discover the world that is not existing and actually people are living inside it. I mean, I think that is impossible, right? That's impossible. I mean, it's more like you saying that you discovered the cup to be the flying car, and yet the cup can't actually fly, but you call it a cup. The cup you're using drinking water, that's the flying car, but it doesn't have the ability to fly. It can't even fly. It's just a name that is bearing, and you are all over the place that is a flying car. And you need to change that perception. You should understand that my own book, man, money makes, it's not just money that makes man makes money. All right? Then it's not decision that makes man makes decision. I want you to listen to this again. And that. So there is something that makes man whom he is. And you can't say all that. It's more like, let's say that the same man whom you said you needed a man, and you stated the condition, and that is what makes him a man. You needed a man, a provider, and for him to provide, he has to work. He has to put all his energy, or his brain, or his creativity to make money, to go out there and make impossible possible and generate revenue money to fuel or to get everything in the house going, the bills, paying all the bills and whatsoever. So in your own case, if the table is turned around, what makes you a wife? Technically, in this woman's case, is zero, nothing. She's doing literally nothing, but she's a wife. That is very horrible in my own dictionary. I don't know how to. I don't have the worst term to actually put that. So if you are a woman who is dreaming, who is saying the same thing like she's doing, that doing your own obligation is living for a man, then you are such a horrible person. You don't even deserve to have a husband. You don't even deserve to have a relationship. You just need to buy a dog and die alone. That is the truth right there. If you believe that doing your own quarter in your own relationship to keep the relationship going, the little you can do, why the man, why your guy do the rest of them is slaving for a man, then you don't deserve a man. You don't deserve to be in a relationship. You don't even deserve to be in one roof with any man. You just need to be on your own, and let's see who is going to come and do the same thing you're supposed to do for yourself that you call slaving, like cleaning and cooking. Pretty much you're going to be paying someone to cook for you. You're also going to pay someone heavily to do the cleaning. And in this time, the man is taking it away for you. You just got to do those things, but you don't have to pay someone to cook anymore because you have to do it yourself as your own part of responsibility in a family or perhaps in the relationship. Okay, let's go further.
Good faith. Not first of all, I think you need to go back and understand what it means to be a woman and a wife. Because if you come in through saying slave, I really got nothing to talk about when we would say shit like that.
I think you need to hear where I'm coming from, but I want you to continue before I explain that.
Go ahead.
No, I want you to continue before I explain.
Well, but it coming from a place of good faith, meaning that a man is something to be valued. Meaning that the most important duty or responsibility a woman has on the planet is her children and her family. You don't want to have anybody else raising your kids, feeding your kids. You're supposed to take pride in these kind of things.
Yeah.
You are supposed to be proud about it. Following a recipe used to be insulting to women. They made their own recipes, but that's when women taught each other how to cook. So you're supposed to write in recipes to recipe books, not just looking on the back of a box. But you didn't. But sadly, many women today don't know how to do this stuff. You went to school, you got an education, pretty much like a guy that was gender neutral, and you're out here working. And then you want a man to come along and do what men have done for hundreds of years, but you're not even qualified to do what the women you used to call slaves did with joy.
I'm not calling them slaves necessarily. I'm just saying, depending on who they were married to.
Well, you can give me all the horror stories.
They were slaving.
Okay, who?
I can say that my mom was slaving. I can say that my mom had slaved for my dad.
Let me ask you a question. When
he was working full time.
In this country, when a man and woman break up in this country, what percentage of the time do women leave financially devastated?
I don't know.
They don't. Men are the ones that leave financially devastated. 90+% of the time, custody goes to the wife. Half of the man's stuff that he had before. You need to go get familiar with this. This is why so many men are avoiding marriage, because women today are filing. We have a 50+% divorce rate, and women file divorce 8 to 9 times out of 10. It's because women have a financial incentive to file for divorce. Well, I don't look at Hollywood marriages, but you don't typically see women having to move back in with their mother because their husband got the home and the kids. This happens all the time with men. So, but your mother had the slave. Is your mother still married to your father?
She is.
Would she call herself a slave?
No.
I don't know. I could ask her, but I don't.
How long did they marry?
About 32 years. They got married right before they had me.
Thank you very much. See, what you said to me, what reminds me of so much of what happened with silent generation and baby boomers. The baby boomer generation, my mother's generation, looked down upon their mother and their grandmother's generation because they had to slave for their husbands and do all this other kind of stuff. And then they realized that when they got to be later in life, that they had failed as women. They realized that every other generation of women up to them had done their jobs. They were the generation that spent all the money, sold the family houses. They're the most selfish generation that ever lived. And the ones that are still alive will tell you, we have failed as women because they're my parents. They made a generation of harder women and softer men, all because they looked upon what their mothers did as being beneath them, because they got a little funky piece of education, a little bit of government assistance, and were told that you were better than your man in the civil rights struggle. The only group of women that actually looks at the women past them as fools. But yet, now you're the most educated, you make more money, you're more educated than the previous groups of women, you have more options, opportunity, you're freest than ever been, and you're the most unhappy group of black women that ever existed.
I don't feel that way because
the stats say that, though. Okay. You don't feel that way. The stats say that, though. 1 in 4 of you will marry in a lifetime.
Okay.
You said I don't want to be a slave, and you said your mama's slave.
Yes, because I see and hear the way that my father treats my mother, and I know that she deserves better.
Oh, you need to stay in your place. You need to stay in your place.
In my place, how?
As a child. That's your mama, but that's his woman. You need to stay in your place. And that's one of the main problems we have in the black community. We got kids judging grown relationships. You don't have any children, do you?
That is true.
No, I don't have any children yet.
Well, that's my point. Mm-hmm. You're judging your mother and father from a kid's standpoint. Mm-hmm. Not that they're just individuals. You don't know what your mama does behind closed scenes, goes to your daddy, but your mama knows enough to have her ass in a marriage. She got more than you do.
What's that?
A husband.
That's true.
Okay.
I mean.
And you're 32, and you don't even have a husband. You don't even have kids. Oh my God. I am 100% positive that when her ma was in her age, that she had a couple of children in Jamaica and living happily with the husband. Now she, following the feminist group, is now seeing the mother like someone who is slaving for her father. That's a terrible notion. And that's, like, it's like having a toddler trying to address an adult. And that is why oftenly I do actually say that women never get mature. Some who often get mature actually choose to, but 80% of women are not mature in the mind to understand how this thing we call relationship, how this bilateral mutual relationship works. So they look at things from one side and they run into conclusion. They look at things without observation. They prejudge everything. They don't hear the whole full story before they jump into conclusion. That is women of these days. So if you're being those kind of women, you will never be able to keep a man. You will never be able to maintain a relationship. You will never be able to stay in a roof with a man without throwing a punch every now and then. Because in the Western world, the law favors the women, because when there's some sort of a problem in the marriage, the man always faces financial stampede when there is any breakup or divorce. Half of his wealth goes to the women who brings nothing to the table. Now, the great question which I decided to ask a lot of you guys is, what did you women take pride doing for in your own husband home as a wife? Is it just only gossiping, or nagging your husband, or trying to look into his privacy, trying to control him and look at whom he's trying to chat with, or whom he's watching that is dancing on a Instagram or whatsoever, TikTok? Is that what you do for a pride? I mean, is that what you take pride in doing as a wife for your husband? Please, while you're trying to comment under this video section there, I want you to tell me bluntly what you do that makes you proud as a wife, which your husband is going to be really, really happy about in the West. So technically speaking, a lot of you out there do not want to do anything to help your husband that actually qualifies you as a companionship to your husband. But you have a whole list that actually pointed and shows that you are a competitor and not a companion. What a lot of you guys out there are a competitor, not a companion. And that is why you're seeking equality without even having the quality or possessing the, or even having the possessing the attribute that qualifies you to be pairing head to head to compete with him on equal terms. You don't have nothing. You have no damn thing. You can do no damn thing. You can't even survive on your own, let alone, and that is why you really needed him like a savior. Now you have him, but you can't even cook. You want him to hire a nanny. You want him to hire a house help to do the job of a wife in the home, while you do nothing but technically policing him around, looking for cracks all over the place. And that is why your marriage is gonna crash. And you don't even care, by the way, why? Because when it crashes, you are entitled to half of his wealth. You are entitled to half of all he has been laboring for and working for all the rest of his life, and you bring literally nothing to assist him with. So it's very terrible. If you are a woman who is watching this very video, you have to amend your way and forget about the life of social media, using this life of social media to plague your own relationship or your matrimonial home, because you're gonna find that there is more darkness in living alone than living with a very good companionship, a very good man whom you have as a husband, who have made a lot of things to be easy for you. Now, there is a question which I asked at the context of this very video here, which is the title: if you call doing your own obligation and duty as slavery, and which is actually the duty of a traditional woman, so what now do you call a traditional man? Is it still the same slavery? I know most of you women will not accept that, because men are like donkey. They have to bear the whole world at their shoulder, and it's not a damn thing. But whatever a woman hates when it comes to a commitment and some sort of obligation to do in any marriage or relationship, then the designated name for it in order to kill it, such as when a man becomes vocal, he becomes misogynistic. When a man needs a traditional woman, then that is slavery or housewife. There are a lot of names for it. All right? So this is not gonna save you. I'm gonna be opening the next other episode on the reason why most modern women are angry, upset, and I bet 80%, 95% of you who are watching this video are guilty of it. And until you get your ass out of that very zone, you're not gonna be happy with your own life. It's as simple as that. So, and for you men, I'm not gonna tell you that you should stop hustling, because this life has left you with nothing but to chisel out your success out of the stones and make hay when the sun shines. So do what you do best. And so technically, the whole advice in this whole video is nothing about men, because men have done the best they're supposed to do in my own book. But if you have not been competent as a man enough to actually go out there, then what are you waiting for? Anyway, for this very moment, I'm gonna be pausing this video here. Put your comment below this video description and tell me what you think about my own personal opinion and assessment about modern women. And I gotta catch you guys later. Bye for now.